Hey folks, welcome back to the Cam Rogers Show. We have Jen Welter on the program right now. Of course, you all know her as the first female NFL coach back in 2015 when she coached the linebackers for the Arizona Cardinals. Jen currently in Ohio getting ready for a Q&A session at the Pro Football Hall of Fame. So Jen, really appreciate you jumping on the program here. How we doing?
Absolutely. It's great to be here this morning. I hit up Good Morning Cleveland to get the buzz going, and it's always good to be at the Pro Football Hall of Fame. They have really welcomed me in since I was with the Cardinals. They, obviously have that coaching T-shirt in there, and now they're bringing me in to talk to some folks as well.
And I consider myself really lucky, of course, to talk to you right now, but also to catch you before that Q&A, Jen, because I want to ask about how excited you are for such a fun event where you'll, of course, be talking about your new book.
It's such an honor to be at the Pro Football Hall of Fame. They truly celebrate the history of the game and the heroes who built it, and to be considered among them is, it's mind-blowing for a girl who played most of her career where, we used to joke and say that we were the best kept secret in sports. And I am doing my best to make it not a secret anymore that women know, love, and play the game of football.
And, of course, your new book on Amazon out right now, Play Big, Jen, and give a little preview here to the audience in terms of what they can expect when, of course, they go online right now and start purchasing that book.
Yeah, if you go on Amazon right now, it is the #1 new women in sport book, which is great. Hopefully we'll take, I'd love to see it take sport in general, not just women in sport. That's a big goal, but hey, and it is in all your local retailers as well, Barnes & Noble, all of them. So you can pick it up in person or even get the audio version, which I narrated myself, which is kind of fun. But when you get it, you'll get a combination of kind of a glimpse into my football career, what it was like, what we went through, what a lot of the women go through who play, and then how I was able to break out of women's and into men's professional football, which I would love to say was kind of the most painful way possible, because I actually did it playing a season against men. And then some real life takeaways. So it's very readable and approachable. And my philosophy was it should be like we were sitting around and talking about stories and about the life lessons that go around with them.
And of course, you recently said in an interview, Jen, how thrilled you were to see the Arizona Cardinals players so excited to be a part of that history back when you coached the linebackers there in 2015. And a lot of times when people do amazing things, they kind of look back that next day and say, how did that actually happen? And I want to ask you, how surreal is it for you to kind of look back and say to yourself, wow, I actually did that?
It definitely is surreal, and to just even know the impact that it's had going forward is really priceless to me. Seeing other women get opportunities, having parents send pictures of their daughter who dressed up as a football coach for Halloween, and just seeing that people are now dreaming bigger because of what we did in Arizona. And I lovingly say, we did the impossible and we did it well, because there was not one moment where it was like, oh, this is why this can't work. In fact, the players were so excited to be a part of history, and they really embraced me and embraced the change. And, they knew everything about me before I even walked in the door. And now they're some of the closest people to me. It's a bond that will never go away. They'll be family for the rest of my life, and all the coaches as well. So in a way, it feels like yesterday, and also at the same time, it feels like, was that real, right? Like maybe pinch me because I could be dreaming. So.
Well, I'll tell you what, it's been quite a journey for you, Jen. I mean, just reading off the resume here, folks, listen to this. We got author, PhD in psychology, pro football player, NFL coach, speaker. Jen, I just got to ask you, in terms of the ride for you and this journey overall, how awesome has it been?
It's awesome every day. And though it seems like there are a lot of different elements to me, there definitely are. But one of the things that you'll see that runs common throughout is I just love being able to bring out the best in other people, whether it's as a football coach on the field or as a speaker or even through my book. I've been blessed to come through some hard hits in my life, both physically on the field and in my own personal life as well, and to have seen full circle how life can just get so much bigger, and there's so much more out there for every single one of us, that I love spreading that message with other people. And as I always used to say, the best gift a coach can give you is to make you better. Right. And in football and in life, that was always my goal. Whether it's football or life, I want to make you better. And if I can help you do that, then it's been a great day. And I get to live that every day. And I try and bring that into every situation I am, even though the situations vary quite a bit. And I have a whole lot of fun. Anybody who knows me will tell you, I'm a kid at heart. What you see is what you get. I don't really know it any other way. And I think that gives people permission to kind of embrace that inner child in their own life as well.
I'll tell you what, a lot of people who are successful in life certainly hit their roadblocks. And you said in a recent interview, Jen, that football, in a way, saved your life. And when you walk on that football field, you feel some sort of magic that you can do anything that you put your mind to. What did you mean by that in terms of football saving your life?
It did. At the hardest times in my life, when there was chaos, when there was discord, I left a toxic relationship, actually lived out of my car for about 4 months to get away. There were so many things that were just wrong and struggling and a grind. And I would go out on the football field and put on those pads and helmet, and it was magic. It was the one place in the world at that time that everything made sense. I could be a champion. I could be a hero. I could be, 6 foot tall, even at 5'2". And I truly believe when you find that place in this world, and, for other people, I'm sure it's not football. For mine, it was. When you find that place in this world, it becomes contagious. That greatness, that feeling of knowing that you can, be bigger, play bigger, do something great, carries over into other areas of your life as well, and gives you hope even when you feel down. And I just hope that other people find that magic as well.
Yeah, certainly words to live by, no doubt about it. Jen, you mentioned earlier how your stint with the guys in pro football, tended to be a little painful, and we actually do have some highlights of you playing a little running back here, which is just awesome in of itself. And I want to ask you, how cool of an experience was that for you? Despite, taking those hard hits, hey, you could say you played with the guys in pro football.
Yeah, I was with those guys for a whole year, and that's what most people don't realize. They see a couple of highlights and some hard hits, but we did that every single day. And those guys, yes, they tackled me, but they taught me a lot about getting back up and getting better every day. And they made me a better person in so many ways, because, I learned to be at the other end of the spectrum. In women's football, I was, one of the top players, Team USA, Pro Bowler, all that stuff. And the men's team, I was fighting to be on the practice squad. And they taught me to really let them be my champions at time. And they were, because what I learned very quickly and what football teaches you is it doesn't work if everybody's not working together. And if at any one time those guys would have wanted me out of there or to be taken out, they could have done it, and they didn't. Instead, they had my back, and I will love them for the rest of their lives. And it was those relationships that we formed playing together that actually opened the door to me going on to coach the team the next season, and then obviously that opened the door to the Arizona Cardinals.
And speaking of those Cardinals, of course, you mentioned that you just have these great bonds with these players even to this day. And Tyrann Mathieu, the Honey Badger, of course, once said that your coaching style didn't differ from many of the coaches for Arizona back in 2015. So let me ask you here, Jen, what exactly is your coaching style? Are you more of a no-nonsense authoritarian, more of a player's coach, somewhere in the middle? Where do we fall here?
I would say I'm definitely a player's coach in that I think you have to reach the people in order to affect them as players. And that means getting to know them as individuals. I credit that a lot with my doctorate in sports psychology and my experiences as a player. For me as a player, I would run through a wall for you if I knew you had my best interest at heart. So I always wanted my guys to know that I did, and my women as well. And so I think it's about relationships and really reaching the individuals. And Ty Mathieu is a special player. Talk about magic on the field. He's an X factor. He influences everybody that's around him, just in his energy and his ability to read the field. And Ty was a special player for me, somebody I really connected with, and I definitely consider him a friend. So
I definitely want to get your thoughts on the breaking news from yesterday, Jen. You've said some statements in terms of the NFL owners and the national anthem situation that's going on so far this year. And of course, the NFL owners are meeting tomorrow. What do you make of this situation here with Colin Kaepernick filing his grievance against the NFL owners? I said in my opening rant here that basically it's him trying to fight back now because he really does indeed want a job in the NFL. And where do you think we're headed with this situation?
It's really hard to say. The one thing I will say is that I don't know that they would conspire to keep someone out per se, because each team is so individual, but there is definitely something going on. And it's a powerful time right now in the NFL. It's one of the largest platforms in that people look to, I think, the NFL to set the standard in terms of, sports and leadership. And they have the opportunity to really impact our culture, which Colin's doing now. I would hate to think that would cause a conspiracy to keep him out of the league. But if you listen to any team's talk, what do they always talk about minimizing? Distraction.
Right.
And there is no secret that there are monetary repercussions from what has been going on, and you also have a president who's been very vocal in threatening teams to have anybody who would take a knee. And so now we've gone from a very dangerous place, okay, where it was, individual people were able to make a statement or to choose, right, whether they felt comfortable or not, based on the initial protest, which in and of itself is hard, okay? It's hard because, the national anthem, I think, is what made the element even trickier. Mm-hmm. Whereas I don't think anybody would have had a question if it was just taking a knee for injustice. I think it was the execution, right? And that's such a hard thing. But it became a dichotomy and a forced narrative even further when, the president of the United States challenged us and said, either you love your country, right, and stand for the anthem, or you take a knee. So it becomes like, do you take a knee for racial injustice, or do you love the United States of America? And that's never what it's been about.
Right.
It's never at the core of what anybody would say is, I don't love America because I don't love the injustice. In fact, America is supposed to be a country founded on free speech and the right to protest. So now we've gotten to a really dangerous place, okay? Looking at Colin, there were questions that a lot of people were asking as to whether or not he really wanted to play anymore. And you heard that in back channels and in interviews, and now by filing a grievance, I think he's taken it to the next level. And I think it's going to force the league to look at the very real possibility that, there's more going on here than just X's and O's and just ability to play the game. And that's an important conversation. I don't know what the resolution is going to be. I don't know how you come to a place of solution, because things have gotten so heated. There's no easy solution, and no one appears to be backing down either.
Right, absolutely. There's certainly a situation where there are a lot of layers that you talked about, and of course we will be following along here on Chat Sports. You'll be on this, of course, too, Jen, but well said by you there. I want to transition here to a final question, a fun little question. You're a defensive mind, so I want to get your thoughts here. Are you more of a 3-4 defense, 4-3 defense, or a hybrid type person? What's the mental makeup of you for the defense?
I like the hybrid where you have the flexibility to move from a 3-4 to a 4-3, especially when you have good stand-up outside contained linebackers. They can be very multiple from your 3-4 with your edge rush and how you twist them. But, being an outside linebacker girl, I am an edge contained person. So to me, that's one of your fundamentals of your defense. You have to have the people who can do it, because otherwise your interior really doesn't matter, right? If no matter what your stunts are, no matter what your gaps are, if they can just sneak outside to the edge, you've lost all of that work to the interior. So my key is always, who are your best edge rushers, and how do you close that box down and force them to play where your chess pieces are? So I like players who can be multiple. And if you have, you need a great nose. You need a 2-gapper to be able to run that 3-4 well. So it really depends on your personnel. I think coaching staffs get too locked into liking a defense and sometimes staying with it even when their personnel would merit otherwise. So when you can be multiple and even, drop people out at the last minute and cause the O-line to have to recount and maybe count incorrectly at the line of scrimmage, you're going to be a lot more dangerous.
All right, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. I want to run through a wall right now after listening to Jen Welter for these last 15 minutes. Jen, I really appreciate you coming on the Cam Rogers Show. Folks, her new book, Play Big, check it out on Amazon and your brick and mortar stores as well across the country. Jen, good luck tonight in the Q&A, and let's chat soon.
Sounds great.